So, welcome to the Book Summit. My name is Dr. Ava Eagle Brown, and the title of this summit is literally one that I really love. It's literally called Amplify Your Voice, Tell Your Story, Make More Income, and Get More Visibility. And tonight, I have somebody here who could be no more perfect to talk about Amplify Your Voice. We have Denise Benz, who is a phenomenal woman. I know that she blushes at that, but seriously, guys, she is so phenomenal that she's worked with some of the best leaders in the industry. And I don't want to tell you about her because I think I won't do her justice. She's my sister, she's my friend, but she's so much more. And I want to welcome Denise Benz to the summit. Hey, Denise, how are you?
Hey, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. I really appreciate you reaching out and making this connection.
Well, do you know what, Denise? I'm going to be so vulnerable and honest. And I try to be, guys, she's my friend. But when I was to ask her, I was nervous. I was like, is she going to say yes? Will she say no? Not because I didn't think she had the heart, but she's such a big deal. And I know she doesn't make a big fuss about it, but she's such a big deal. I thought she's going to say no. But thankfully, for me and for you, she said yes. Denise, tell us a little bit about who you are in the world, because honestly, I'm so humbled to walk side by side with you right now. Who are you? What
Oh
have
my
you done in the world, Denise? And please don't keep it shy. Just tell us the truth about how much of an amazing person you are and how phenomenally you've helped many around the globe.
So let me first say, I find it very interesting that you are passing the baton to me because typically it's easier to sit back and listen to someone reflect to you who you are. But I'm in the process of writing a book. And as I'm writing the intro of the book, it was really on my spirit that in this season, I have to stand in the power of who I am.
Mm.
And I've always associated talking about yourself as being as bragging, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like I've had this shift, and I realize that if God has created us to be this strong, beautiful being, who are we to dim our light? Like it's almost like you are casting a shadow on the greatness that God has put in you. So I feel a little bit of humility now
Mm.
about the fact that I didn't feel comfortable doing that before. So who am I? My name is Denise Benz. And I'm a business strategist. I manage speakers. Gosh, this is so uncomfortable to talk about myself. So a lot of people know me from the self-development industry. I
Mm.
started out years ago. I've probably been in this business for about 20 years.
Mhm.
I have worked with Tony Robbins. I worked with Lisa Nichols when I first met her. She was, doing events in community centers. So no one knew who the heck she was. And here I was working for this amazing man, but I saw something in her. And I just began to kind of help her behind the scenes. And eventually I stepped into the space of being her CEO. I've worked with Iana Van Zant. I have clients that are in the entertainment industry. I have a client who's amazing and I love, and she's yummy and beautiful. Her name is Kim Coles from the show Living Single. I've worked with R&B singer Kenny Lattimore. Matter of fact, I just got the most beautiful message from him about 15 minutes ago because I connected him for a Mother's Day special for Fox. And, I name all these different people, but the people that I work with now, what I'm so grateful for is the commonality is their heart to serve. The
Mm.
people that I represent right now really have a heart of service. And, when I resigned as Lisa's CEO, it was really important for me to find my village. And
Yes.
so Ava, you toot my horn, but really I'm a reflection of you.
Mm.
And I feel like my role in this world is to be a reflection of God's light.
Wow.
So when people pay me a compliment, I I really feel like I'm doing my job because I'm all they're seeing is a reflection of God's grace on my life. That's it.
Thank you so much, Denise. And guys, I did say she was a big deal, and she's so humble. I've not come across, and I'm going to be sincere, you guys know me, I've not come across such a humble person in this space, having done all the things that she has done, but more so what she continues to do. So for that, I'm just really grateful. You touched on something that I'm going to touch on because it is so poignant to this conversation. You talked about how And in my, my paraphrasing, you are shy almost to talk about yourself. And the power of people's voice and their authentic voice is something that you do so powerfully. And the book summit is speaking about the power of a story. Denise, tell me, because nobody knows this better than you. I tell you what, there's nobody on the global stage, in my view, that knows this better than you do. The power of a story. You have crafted so many stories for the people you manage, and you've helped them to chisel them down from the verbatim and the verbose and the, all the sounding very monotonous, to
Yes.
powerful stories that have got deep theories and impact crowds. Tell us, Denise, the power of stories, because some of us underestimate that.
Yes, I'm so glad that you said that. And that's one of the things that I talk about in the book. And a lot of times people, they want to get these books that tell them step by step by step, say this, there's a setup, and then there's a. I start with all my clients from the same place. Number one, I want to know, what is your story? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why is this story important to you? And I look to see how that story can impact other people.
Mm.
So I break down the levels in the book. Sometimes we talk from what I call I view. So
Yes.
an I view storyteller is they're just talking to hear themselves talk.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they'll get so caught up in the story, they'll go, wait, what was I saying?
Yes.
Because it's really not about you.
Mm-hmm.
It was about them. And so I encourage people, before you start speaking, you need to stop and really think about, how can that experience impact someone else? If
Mm-hmm.
you look at your life through that lens, you realize that life is not happening to you, right?
Mm.
It's happening for you. So the importance of your story is, it is the foundation of everything that you do.
Yes.
Some people just master a speech and they want to go regurgitate that. Well, what happens is it doesn't read as authentic. The
Mm-hmm.
reason that people love you, Ava, is like you keep saying, you guys know me, I'm authentic. We know the essence of who you are because you're so vulnerable.
Yes.
So what a story does is it allows people to see themselves in you.
Mm-hmm.
So can I share a story with you?
Of course you can. Take it away, girl.
So one of the clients that I represent is an actress, right? And so most people know her as an actress and a comedian. Her name is Kim Coles. When we first started working together,
Hold
um,
on, guys. Did you say she just dropped that? Like, she just brushes over it. Her client is Kim Coles. And if you don't know her, a lot of you already do. Please Google her. She's a big deal. She just skimmed over that. And I have to just pause, because Denise is like that. She really doesn't toot her own horn. And I love that about her. I'm so sorry. I had to interject, because you do it again. You just keep. No, we're gonna appreciate you and be in the moment, because those things are amazing, and you do them so well, Denise.
thank you. I received that. I
Yeah.
received that. So Kim is an actress, comedian. She was on a show called Living Single. And when we met, we must have talked for about 6 hours. And
Wow.
she was talking about her journey and how she made all this money and how she lost the money and how she fell into depression. And so she was just, I think she was just emoting. And
Mm.
it was the opportunity to just say, this is me, this is where I'm at, this is what's happening in my life, but I know that my destiny is to be bigger than this moment, but I don't know how to get there, but this is what's going on. And so I sat there, and as I'm listening to the story, I'm like, oh, there's so many people that are going to be able to relate to this. And so she says, I want to inspire women and girls, and I want them to turn on the light quicker, but I'm not at any place to speak to people, Denise. And I said, what do
Mm.
you mean? She goes, well, I mean, I'm still in the journey. I have to get to the other side. I can't inspire people.
Wow.
And I said, let me tell you something. You know that I worked with Tony and I love his content. But guess what? Not everyone can relate to walking the beach of Venice and not being able to pay your rent to then living in a castle in Del Mar.
Mhm.
People know that part of his story, but that's a big leap for people. And sometimes when you're in the middle of a struggle, like looking to someone who's living in a castle, it's like, I can't see how that could ever be me. I can't relate to that. So as a listener, you're looking for some inspiration. You're looking for some perspective that you can hold on to.
Mhm.
And I said, Kim, this is the time for you to tell your story. And she goes, well, I'm in the middle of it. And I'm like, absolutely. Because We don't see people on television that are in our homes every day,
Mm.
being vulnerable, saying that I made some mistakes and I was afraid and I didn't manage my money properly. And God forbid, I was depressed,
Yes.
right?
Elephant in the room. I was depressed.
People are so afraid to say that for fear of judgment. I said, but if you open up and actually share that in this season, you're going to, I write this in the book and I talk about your job as a speaker is to be authentic, at the hope of freeing the room and touching one person. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Just free the room. When you speak your truth, you give people permission to be right where they're at without judgment. So that was literally the beginning of me taking her messages and crafting that. And she had so many amazing stories. And I do an exercise with my clients back when I used to coach executives. I have them hold their finger out in front of them, like, okay, I want you to look at the acrylic nail.
As I'm doing it, as she's doing it, okay?
Right? I'm like, okay, man, I need a feel. Oh, I need some gloss. I need another coat. I said, now I want you to stare at that finger, the tip of your finger. Don't break contact. Bring it in close to the tip of your nose. I'm like, okay, now that you're cross-eyed, pull it back. Now, when I coach you, it may seem like I'm so brilliant and I just have all the answers. That's not the case. The reason that what I'm saying makes sense and you're like, man, she's giving me such great perspective is because you're this close to it. You're too close. If you look down right now, you can't see the nail. You can't see how many lines are on the finger. You can't see anything. I am looking at it like this. I'm looking at it from every angle. And so perspective is it's so valuable. And when you're in the middle of a crisis and you're going through stuff, it's hard to see that.
Yes.
So anywho.
No, I love that because I can relate to so much of that. And one of the things that I have come to stand in my truth is I don't hide it. I take my tribe along with me on it because I feel that if I hide the stuff that happened underneath the iceberg, then when I get to the tip, they're gonna like, but when did that happen? And then I found that when I shared my last book, The Mango Girl, some people didn't believe because I hid it. I didn't talk about it. Nobody needs to know. You just don't talk about it. And so people question the authenticity of that. And so with that, I told myself that I'm never going to do that again. I'm not going to tell you my whole life, but I'm going to show you aspects of what I'm going through. So at the moment, I keep a vlog. I'm keeping a vlog of my life. Yes, I have a vlog. I've never shared it. It's private, but I document certain parts of my journey for the last 3 years, and I've kept it. And I think it's so important because eventually, like you said, I've shared synopsis of it on Facebook, like on a live or just what I'm going through. But the pictures of it I've not shared, but I intend to do that. And it brings me to the point about writing, because you just said you're writing a book. I think if ever a time we should be writing is right now. I think it is so necessary, especially having gone through COVID or going through COVID. I think so many of us have so much that's spent up inside. But more so, Denise, is the fact that a book can be bankrolled through your voice. And I want you to touch on that because you master that craft so well among many other things. But I want you to speak to the persons who are watching and listening about how can you take your story. And some people think I have to have a horrible story of being raped like Ava. No, you don't. How do you take a story and bankroll it through your authentic voice or any other medium? How do you do that?
So there are three different, when someone comes to me and says, I want to write a book, I always ask them, why are we writing this book? Is it, are you wanting to gain credibility? You think having a book is going to make you more credible? You have a passion story in your heart where you just got to get the story out, or you need something to generate sales?
Yes.
So I always start with that to give them some guidance. Some people think I'm going to write a book so I can be a New York Times best-selling author and you know, people can be very impressed with me. Well, you and I know in the book world, it's still the job of the author to promote that book. Getting a book deal doesn't like make you rich, right?
Yes.
But what it does is it does give you credibility, right? But bigger than that, it's important for people to be able to feel like they've taken a piece of your message home with them. It gives them something tangible. So, and I like what you said. It doesn't have to be, you know, tons of how to do this and how to do that. It doesn't have to be a bunch of content. Let me tell you, the first book that I actually published Kim's book. And I said, Kim, I've been watching you speak. You're doing a great job, but I need you to have a product.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, a product? I said, yeah, we should create a journal. She goes, Denise, I have like a ton of journals and I don't even use them. And I said, you talk about how keeping a gratitude list pulled you out of depression.
Yes.
That opened up the hearts of the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I promise you, if they had a book from Kim Coles talking about how to keep a gratitude list, they're going to purchase it, because people make purchases based on an emotional experience.
Yes.
And once you unzip and you're vulnerable with them, they're going to want a piece of that. That's why we buy $25 t-shirts at concerts.
Yes.
Is the t-shirt worth $25? No, not at all. But you want a piece of that to take with you. As a speaker, you should be looking at, how is it that I can give a piece of me, some sort of action that I can give people to stay connected to the message that I just delivered. So when you create a book, it gives them, it's the first thing to kind of tickle their fancy a little bit and say, you know, something, man, I got to open this book. And it keeps them connected to the experience.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps them connected to you. So writing a book is really powerful. And I have to tell you, number one, when Kim, for example, started sharing her story and being vulnerable, it blew people's mind.
Mm-hmm.
She had people coming up to her crying and telling how they were dealing with the same thing.
Yes.
And initially she says, I feel like I need to give them something, but I don't have. And I said, yeah, we need a book.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a book. So we produced the gratitude book. And there are times, as a speaker, this is really key. There are times that you will say yes to speaking engagements.
Mm-hmm.
Because your heart says, oh my gosh, I want to pour into these people, and they may not have a full budget for you.
Yes.
But if you have a product, if you have a book, oftentimes, and I tell you, I've seen this across the board, whether it was Lisa, Tony, Iyanla, Kim, anyone I've worked with, there are times they've said yes to a gig and there's hardly any money there.
We sell books.
But they made their feedback in the product.
Yes.
So it's critical. And every time I see a speaker speak and they don't have a book, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Money on the table.
Money on the table.
Money on the table.
And
I love that. I love that. And I also love the fact that I said to my clients that, you know, sometimes we don't know speakers that we see. We're not sure we want to work with them. But let me take a book just to test and see how they align and the synergy. And sometimes when you don't have that book, you really have just blown that opportunity to connect with some people. So I really love that.
Yeah,
I
and
love that.
There are some rooms, there are some events that they will not bring you in unless you have a product.
Wow.
You'll need to, when I was working with Lise, we needed a book big time, because there were some rooms that didn't want a book if she didn't have a book, because they felt like the book gave her credibility. The book says you're serious about your craft. The book says that you're an authority in space. Yes. And people, and it can be validated with this book. Yes. Now you're frozen.
You're gonna come back. So we're just talking to Denise, and she's gonna come back in a second. We're still recording, and I'm just waiting for this Wi-Fi to pick up, and I hope she stays there with me. So guys, Denise just said that there are some rooms that they will not take you unless you have a book. And can you imagine that there are some places in the world that you cannot speak as a speaker without a book? So for those of you who are thinking that, well, I don't want to write a book, I'm not sure I want to write a book, here is an expert who's worked with Lisa Nichols, who's worked with Tony Robbins, who works with Kim Coles, who's saying to you, you need a book, because a book is going to be what's going to get you into that room. And so I want to say to you that you need to think about your book before you actually do anything else. How are you going to get your book done? How are you going to do your book? And who is going to literally validate that for you? And so if Denise can be telling us that, then you need to understand that it is so valuable. Then I've lost Denise for the interview, but I'm actually going to wait and see if I can get her back in the room, I'm really hoping that I can. It's my hope and my desire, because this was such a juicy, juicy sauce. Um, and I'm gonna just ask her, if I'm gonna ask her to move her and ask her to come back in the room. So just bear with me 1 second, guys. This was such a great interview, and we're not gonna literally let this one go. We are actually gonna wait for Denise to come back and join me, because this was so powerful. And I really have to get Denise to be back in the room, because I need her to come and finish that sauce and that which she was sharing. For some reason, I can't get Denise out of the room, so I'm going to come back, and we're actually going to be trying to do this over again. So I'm going to come back with part 2 with Denise, and we're going to have to edit this, but not a problem. See you in the room. So Denise, that's so interesting, and we lost each other there, and we're going to actually piece this together, which is amazing. And we're just being honest, because these things happen in real life, right? You're
Absolutely.
speaking on stage, and if you don't remember your slides and the slides don't work, you better know that, right? So we had one of those speaker moments a while ago where we had a technical hitch, and we've had to literally just mend it together. But because we're experienced at this, we know how to do this, right?
Easy
So Denise,
breezy.
welcome back. You were telling me something that I didn't even know. I didn't even know that there are some rooms that will not take you if you didn't have a book. Talk to me about that.
Now, here in the U.S., I don't know, how it is in other countries, but here in the U.S., a lot of people want television, right? They want to get to the next level where they're able to reach a larger audience.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of networks that will not have you on if you do not have a book. Whether you are an etiquette expert, I have a client who's an etiquette expert, and she had to write a book. Matter of fact, she says that what inspired her to do what she does, her name is Elaine Swan. Amazing. You should follow her.
Let's write that name down, Elaine Swan.
Elaine Swan.
Does etiquette. She's a swan, and she does etiquette. Okay, I love that.
Matter of fact, she just did a piece with Kevin Hart and Chelsea Handler, I think her name is, a couple of days ago. But anywho, when I did an event in the city that I live in, she was on a nonprofit, and she said, Denise, when I saw the women go to the back of the room, like line up around the venue to purchase these books, I was like, I have to have a book. I have to create a book. She goes, you are the one that inspired me to do what I'm doing and to have a book. And this is like years later, I had no idea. But guess what? It gives her more credibility as an expert. She has been on every network you can think of: ABC, NBC, CBX, Fox. When Trump was exiting the Air Force One with his wife, they contact her to comment.
Wow.
But having a book gave her the credibility. So it's very important to have a book.
Wow.
People feel like, you're an expert in your field. And let me just say this to your listeners. And I have to say this because I'm someone that didn't feel like I needed to write a book, which probably sounds crazy, but I'm like, I'm behind the scenes. I don't need a book. So you may be sitting here listening to this summit going, yeah, that's great for Denise. That's great for Ava and the other speakers, but I don't even know what I would say. I don't have anything worth sharing. If people are asking you to come and deposit into their audience, if people are coming and asking you to speak, whether you are a trainer, whether you're an etiquette expert, whether you're a chef, whatever your passion is, there is a market for that passion. There's someone that wants to know more of how to do the thing that it is that you do. So there is a book inside of you. I didn't feel like as a manager managing talent that I needed to write a book, but I see that so many people struggle with how to be authentic on stage.
Wow.
They thought, well, my life is my story. All I have to do is get there and tell it.
Yes.
Guess what? When I met Lisa, she was giving monologues. That's what I used to call it, monologues. A monologue is when you just talk.
Oh, I love that. I love how you do that, right?
But no one wants to be spoken to like this. It feels like this when you're giving a monologue.
You want to engage and interact, right?
Yes. So what we want as grown people, as human beings, we want dialogue. We want connection. That's like huge in COVID right now, right? Everybody's lacking connection. But that's what makes a speaker powerful, and it makes you connect to them. When you feel like you can see yourself in them, there's pregnant pauses. There's a time for you to go, man, yeah, that's me. So I was able to take her monologue and turn that into dialogue and teach her a little bit of NLP. But I'm saying that to tell you that there is a story inside of you, and there is a process to the way that you do things that make you unique. And sitting down and capturing that, you are going to bless someone else that's over here just now starting their journey.
Right.
Trying to figure out, how do I do it? How do I become a better trainer? How do I become a better teacher? How do I become a better parent? How do I take this horrible thing or beautiful thing that happened in my life and inspire people and let them know they're going to be okay.
Yes.
Man, God brought me through this so I can inspire people.
Yes.
There's a story in there. And Tony used to say, a life worth living is worth recording.
Oh,
and I have to say that rings in my head all the time.
I was about to say that.
There's several other books inside of me, and my people just know the business side of my life. They don't know the personal side. My personal journey is quite interesting to some, and a lot of people that know me, they look at me and they go, I don't know how you've gone through all of that, and you're so grounded and you're so humble and you're so grateful. And I say it's because every day I wake up is a choice.
Yes. Yes.
You get to choose how you respond and react to what you've gone through. You can sit on top of your story. You can let your story sit on top of you. Ooh, that was good.
I
That
love
was good. Can I say that again?
Yeah, you can't say that again. You should trademark it. It's really yours. It's copywritten. It's yours.
I like that. You can sit on top of your story. You can let your story sit on top of you.
I love that. You just said something that is so amazing, because so many of us don't realize. I think that every time somebody comes to ask me something 3 times, then it's time to write a book. Ava, how do you? Okay, Ava, how do you? Ava, okay. There is a reason, because I need to know, right? Because if you're asking me so many times, and that person is asking me so many times, then it's time for me now to craft that into a book. And I really love that. I also love what you spoke about, Kim Coles, because they say stories heal and stories free, right?
Yeah.
And all of us in our lives, no matter how rich or powerful we are, we're either going through something, in the middle of something, or coming out of something. So there's always something to write about. And I also want to stress that books are not just stories, right? How do you twist your locks? How do you do your eyebrow? Nowadays, the internet is full, it's packed with all of those, what we call them, those influencers doing videos, how-to videos, right? And a number of them are not even making books, I realize. They're just doing the videos. So there's so much to be had from stories. Now, I know that you work with a lot of speakers, and you take people from diamonds in the rough and you craft them into some amazing speakers, and you help them to get books and products and all of that. Tell us, Denise, how can we contact you, and what do you have for the audience who are listening to this amazing content? You drop so many pieces there, I don't even know where to start picking them up. I'm just picking them up for myself as well as I go along.
Oh my gosh. So I'm going to answer that question, but it just dropped in my spirit to say this. There are people that may be sitting on this summit saying, all of this is great content, but I struggle with writing.
Yes.
I'm not a good writer. I don't know how they can really help me. I don't know how this content can help me if I really struggle. Well, guess what? I have a client that speaks 6 different languages, and she was dyslexic.
I am dyslexic.
And her passion was to write. She wanted to become a writer, and she was having a difficult time. So because I knew that that was a dream for her, I pitched her to a magazine in Jordan, actually. And I said she would be a phenomenal asset to your publication. And so I asked them to send me the questions, in advance for her interview. Then I had my assistant get on the phone with her and ask her these questions.
And type.
I then took the transcription of the conversation, and I edited it. I sent it to my copywriter and I said, turn this into an article.
There you are.
I
They're
took
tools.
I took the article and I submitted it to the magazine, and she continued to write for them. They took on, and she had her own column. This is a high-end, very expensive magazine. I mean, they have Ferrari and Rolex as advertisers in this magazine. And I imagine there's so many people like her that think, man, that sounds great for all of them, but there's no way I could ever do it because I struggle with this. So this is on my spirit to share that story.
I'm glad you did, Denise, because, and I said it with Dr. Michelle when I spoke with her, when I was talking with her, I'm dyslexic and I failed English and math in high school. You see, people misunderstand that writing a book doesn't mean that you have to be great at English to write, because you're just pouring out the content. You're giving the story, the chronological order in which things happen. You're just giving the base. Then you have people behind the scenes. You spoke about your assistant and your copyright, who are there to embellish that content for you. And I'm glad you said that, because so many people say, but I can't write and I don't know how to do it. And it's not for me because my English is bad. Well, your English could be bad. You can still write a book, and there are persons to put that together for you. So thank you for that, because I think it's dropped in your spirit because somebody needed to hear that. And so many great stories go to the graveyard because people feel that way. Oh my God, I love this. You've dropped some juicy sauces there, girl. Now, Denise, tell us, what are you going to share for the audience? What can they get from you? What are you offering them? Because I can't have you go and not offer something. Not at all. No.
Well, so let me tell you that I didn't come on here with anything to sell. I really just wanted to be able to deposit into your community. If people want to reach out to me, they can. You can reach me at denisebenz.com. That's my personal site. If you're a speaker and you're looking at how do I package myself and become a more powerful speaker and have people take me more seriously, then go to AuthenticSpeakersAgency.com. And my other company does marketing and branding. That's Kim actually started off on the marketing side, because I looked at all of her stuff and I was like, I can't sell you as a speaker. We got to package you properly. So
Well, guess who's going to become our client? I'm going to become our client, because not that I'm not a good speaker, but I want to become more powerful, and I want to sway bigger audiences, and I want to be on all the television stations. So in the background, I'm saying, okay, God, let me just do this and do that, because I'm going to go to Denise, and she's my friend, but I understand the value that she brings to the world, and she doesn't know that yet. So she just heard that here right now, but I'm eyeing her from a distance, like, okay, I'm gonna come. Denise, that's just so great. So guys, I'm gonna have all the notes down in the screen of Denise contacts and how to reach her. And I'm just so blessed to have you on here. The nuggets you drop. Denise spoke about the visibility you get from a book, the fact that it can be a great platform, the fact that you can use it to negotiate certain contracts. And I'm just excited for that. So guys, this is Denise Benz on literally amplify your voice, tell your story, bankroll money, right? And get more visibility. And I'm your host, Dr. Ava Eagerbrod. It's my pleasure to serve you, Denise. I'm so grateful for you being here. And we will see you on the next time. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you.